Hello there. Okay, so I wanted to come on and record this video because I know that I have seen an uptick in people just being more vulnerable, more authentic, more direct with what's happening with them recently, and I've been no different. I've been sharing all sorts of vulnerable stuff, especially around, my journey and even into my relationship and how that has intertwined with my journey with business and success and even my health. Um, but I think that it's important to just talk about what's happening and why so many people are really feeling this call and what's the shift that's taking place, and what maybe giving you a little bit of peace of mind of what to expect, and to also just say you're not alone in this. And I used to be someone, and if you actually look back even at some of my content in the last few years, where it was very much of the mindset of you don't need to tell people, I've been there too, or you've got this, and giving that encouragement and cheerleading. And I will say I 100% believe, like, we do not need to be here to be cheerleaders, especially in order to gain clients, to get people to like us. The most important thing that we can do is to show up and express ourselves authentically. But showing up authentically for me, sometimes I've realized, does actually mean that that's who I am, that's what I'm here to do. And I made myself wrong for that, just because of many things that I've heard other people say, and my interpretation of some of those comments. So I just wanted to say, you've got this, and you're not alone. If you are on this video, if you are catching this video, if you're still watching this video, you've probably been feeling some of these shifts, pulls to be more open, to be more in alignment, to stop hiding, to stop being in the shadows of yourself and other people's shadows, to stop doing things in ways that feel out of integrity for you. And and I think I've talked about it previously, but we've had a big shift, in, yes, cosmic cycles, if you want to look at it from that lens, happening. And this year in particular, a lot of people are really feeling that call, that pull to more authenticity, especially in the way that we're showing up in business and our relationships, of wanting to really be ourselves, and from a business and career perspective, to be paid really well for being us, being paid for our magic. In relationships, it's about being appreciated for who we are and recognized for who we are, and not having to fit into the boxes, in business too, really to fit into the boxes of what other people need or want or expect from us. And I know for me, I have felt prey to that so many times throughout my existence, really, not just in my business, in my career before my business, and even pre-career, just growing up. And I was the good girl, right? I got the good grades. I was on honor roll. I had not a 4.0 average, but pretty close in high school. And I actually had planned to go into pre-med and go to medical school, which changed when I was in a relationship my senior year of high school, and kind of made a shift in what I was doing there. But the whole point being is, for me, I've spent much of my life hiding, and feeling like, I needed to be a certain way so that my parents would be proud of me, so that so that boys would like me, growing up, so that my boyfriend would love me more, and even into my marriage, so that my husband would see me, differently, or so that I'd be more attractive to him, or so that he wouldn't be disappointed or whatever. There's so many examples. And in business, it's been talking about the things that everybody everybody cares about money, etc. And money is important, don't get me wrong. But I haven't shared as much of my own personal journey. In the beginning of my business, I was more open with that, but I stopped sharing that in large part because I didn't want it to impact my authority. And don't get me wrong, I really don't think, that you should be out there just dumping everything, because you do want to, keep your authority in place. But at the same time, if you're, showing up behind the scenes in one way, and then you're showing up and keeping this facade of perfection going, and perfect marketing, everybody's looking up to you, you're making all of the money and all of the success and all of the stuff, that's great. But in the end, like for me, I know that started to feel really not good, because while I was making more money than I ever made in my life before I started my business, I found that I wasn't happy. And it took a lot of soul searching over the last many years, really, to figure out what that was about. And, I ran my business, and I have had and have so many wonderful clients, and I really love coaching and mentoring and supporting people in their relationships and their businesses. There is a giant, I don't know, looks like a Zamboni, um, driving by. So, since I'm not on Zoom, there is no noise canceling. So I'm just gonna wait. I am actually sitting outside at the local rec park, and sitting outside what is the hockey rink, in colder parts of the month. So it could literally be a Zamboni, even though it is like 80 degrees outside. See it there. But anyway, now I lost my train of thought. But really, what it all cracks down to is authenticity, being in your authentic expression, feeling as though you can be yourself in your relationships, in your business, that you can do things the way you want to, that you can sell the things that you want to, that you can be who you are in your relationship and not worry that someone won't accept you, that they'll think poorly of you, that that you can be who you are, not just in your business but in your relationship. And for me, I felt like those were almost like two separate parts of me, and in both of them I probably still wasn't fully showing up as me, because I was scared of all sorts of things. If I showed up differently in my business, well, I'd had this financial success, but what if people didn't like the real me? And what if they stopped paying me? What if I lost the people who were paying me? And then the new people that I was trying to attract didn't appreciate me the way that I really wanted them to. So there was that fear. There was that fear in my marriage of, if I brought all of me and my spirituality and things that honestly differ very much from my husband's views into my marriage, would I be accepted? Would I still be loved? If I made the money, more money, if I had more success, would my husband leave me? Like, these are the things that did go through my mind. And they started to kind of come to a head, which, coming full circle back to the point of this video, is that many people have experienced this year where many things have started to come to a head. I've seen it with people in my personal life, and like things coming to light that maybe they've been hiding for a while or been ashamed of. But then also in business, people, money has like slowed down, because people have needed to take a real step back and get that clarity of who they are, of what's happening for them, of what happiness and authenticity truly means for them. Because going forward, the way that life is going to happen is not just based on achievements. It's not based solely on, just doing in order to achieve a result. It's being who you are, being in your authenticity, being much more grounded and in that energy. And as women, especially, oftentimes that is a little bit more, not all women, but like me, I'm a very feminine woman, and I haven't lived my life that way. I've lived a very strategic, action oriented, fit into the box, do what I thought I was meant to do or was supposed to be doing for much of my life. But that's not how things are going to go. We need to be more self-led, but in order to be self-led, you have to have a really strong self-concept and belief in yourself. And the way to get that isn't to just repeat affirmations, but it's to genuinely understand who you are, what makes you who you are, what's stopping you from really truly being authentically yourself. And sometimes those things are uncomfortable, they're painful, sometimes they're things that are there on the surface consciously, and sometimes they're unconscious. And for me, I've made a big commitment to myself to do that work, because I've done business authentically in the beginning and I made a lot of money. And then I stopped doing that because I thought that in order to grow, in order to be better, in order to maintain what I had both in business and in life, that I needed to be a certain way or do a certain thing. So I started changing myself to adapt to that growing landscape, and it does go back to some even childhood stuff that I have needed to work through, so that I could show up fully, authentically, and not just say that I was showing up authentically, because I think many people think that they are, and we say that, and I did the same. But I realized I didn't even necessarily know until a year ago, maybe, who that really was. And I think that many of you are experiencing similar things where you've reached ahead in your business. You know, maybe you've had a lot of success financially or otherwise, but you're reaching a point of burnout. It just doesn't feel good anymore. You know something needs to shift, something needs to change. And the only way to do that is to admit, first and foremost, that you feel that, and then B, to actually step back into, why am I feeling this? What needs to shift in order for me to show up in alignment in a way that actually feels really good? Because if you're still watching this video, I know that you enjoy what you're doing from a business perspective, that if you're still listening from a relationship perspective, that you very value those relationships. So what it comes down to, it's not about seeking out validation. It's not about seeking out reasons outside of you, but it's about really connecting back to yourself and to what's important for you. Hopefully this storage is low, so this might not save if I don't hurry up and finish here. But what's important to you at your core, and what is you? Like, what does it actually look like to honor you, to be in your authenticity? And what, if anything, is actually stopping you from that? Because you being that version of you, that's when the self-concepting becomes easy. That's when your business is flowing and easy, when clients are coming in, when you don't burn out, and when you feel really solid and grounded in yourself, even if people look at you differently, even if people don't agree with you, even if in your relationship that you don't see eye to eye, because you always know that you have your own back. When you are showing up 100% as you, your confidence shifts, your ability to show up for things shifts, and how you attract things into your life shifts. Life just becomes easier in all ways. And that is sustainable success. So the only way to sustain the success that you have built is to go through this journey. Because if you are feeling pressure, if you are feeling burnt out, if you are feeling overwhelmed, even though on paper you have it all, there's something that you're holding back, and I would encourage you to do that work. If you want to do that alongside me, I have some great opportunities coming up to work with me, both in one of my mastermind programs, as well as private mentorship. But then I also just have some little tools and tips that, if you just are kind of starting this journey, that I'm happy to share with you as well. So just reach out, let's have a conversation and see where it takes us. So have a great day. And if this resonated with you, leave me a comment, let me know, and have a fabulous day. And we'll talk to you very soon. And go live life in your happy place, authentically as you.